Good morning, everyone. This morning I thought I would talk about the Gunas. So, what is the Gunas? Um, you might have heard of the word, if you're a yogi, of course, of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. But actually, Gunas means the essential nature of a thing. And I want to talk about Gunas, and I remember Lao Tzu saying something from the one beget the two, from the two beget the three, from the three beget the 10,000 things. And the relevancy of the Gunas is because it pervades every part of our lives. So, what is the one? The absolute reality. From the absolute reality came Akash and Prana, which is space and energy. And from that evolved the three Gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And from the three Gunas, the 10,000 things were born. So all of our life constitutes of these three main qualities. And it's important to understand them because it helps us give options in terms of the choices we make in our lives as to how to redirect our life in a sense. It'll start to make sense a bit more. So where do we see Sattva most prevalent? I think it's in our essential human nature. It is the quality of light, love, life. And when you're in Sattva Guna, you automatically have an access to dharmic qualities which help evolve consciousness. So Sattva is very important for spiritual evolution. Where do we see Rajas mostly dominant in terms of our world? We see it in, mostly in the animal kingdom, and the quality that are attached to Rajas is passion and desires, and I suppose the quality of confusion also is part of that. Then where do you see Tamas in the world? You see it in the plant and mineral kingdom. It is the heavy material coating that sort of is part and creates form in creation as such. And it's born of ignorance. It causes delusion and binds through inadvertence, stupor, and indolence. Can you be attached and bound by Sattva, and do you have to go above the Gunas? Yes, you have to overcome the Gunas as such. In Sattva, you're bound by attachment to happiness and knowledge. In Rajas, it is attachment to actions, and in Tamas, it is you're bound by what I said before about ignorance. Now, there are many ways of describing the Gunas as such. From the mode of action, you can see Gunas. Sattva, you can see, and from the mode of looking at the modality of action, you can see that it is intense activity to the point of stillness is represented by Sattva. Rajas is that activity that brings change, initiates change. And Tamas is the opposite. It's inertia. It is actually the obstructive force, the opposite force to Sattva, I suppose. And what is the goal? And let's look at another example of day and night. Night is Tamas, day is Sattva. Sunrise and sunset are Rajas. And you find that actually, in terms of the qualities of endurance, Sattva and Tamas endure the most. They keep their form the longest. And it is Rajas that is inconsistent and changes. What is the human goal, though? It is to ascend from the lower Gunas into the highest guna. And you have to ask yourself in terms of analyzing your life and say, where is my life dedicated to? Is it dedicated, which altar is my life dedicated to? Is it dedicated to evolution of that divinity that is within me, that consciousness that is within me? Or is it dedicated to material ambition and action? Or is my life dedicated to living off others? So a person who could be, I suppose, ekes their living out on not wanting to work, but getting it the easy way out. So you would call that tamas in a sense. So I suppose I can only give you an understanding of how creation has in practice moved to the expressions of these three gunas. And when you can see, if I am having nobler thoughts, then I'm in sattva. And if I am having active thoughts and wanting to initiate change and move this way, I'm more rajasic. And if I am looking at, you know what, I need to just sit and be still, and actually I need to sleep, then you're definitely in tamasic mode. So like school children, if you knew that there is a certain time that tamas kicks in, and particularly after food or whatever, then you don't actually try and get children to study at that time. You give them a few moments of relaxation before you would make them study. It's like otherwise you're going against the guna of the day, and so on. So I just thought I'd give you a brief. There's a lot more to this actually. It's a very complicated picture, but I needed to just introduce you to the idea of the gunas, because when if I get a chance, we will talk about the gunas and its implication for Maya, because I started off with Maya and I realized that if you understand the gunas, it will help you to understand how Maya actually is reflected in the gunas. So maybe that's next week. Take care.